One factor in today's video, going to have a look at the heat wave and the breakdown to the heat wave, but I think could be on the way for around a week's time. We're talking about Thursday or Friday, I think, for the breakdown next week. Now, this is a long time out, really. It's still a week away, over a week away, if you think about Friday. So you've got to be a bit careful about this. I don't want to be too confident about it, because when you're talking about weather in the week to 10 day period, around the 168 to 240 hour mark, you're talking about the unreliable time frame really of the models, particularly in this sort of pattern where you're breaking down high pressure, because high pressure often tends to extend out longer than the models think it will. So got to be a bit careful about this, but certainly this morning the evidence is quite good, but I think we're looking at the breakdown around Thursday or Friday next week. So I'll run through the charts in a moment. Just want to talk about the advertising. There's green keyword ads on all my pages at GazWebBiz.com. And you click through the keywords, you'll go to the advertised website, and by doing that, you'll be supporting GazWebBiz.com. And thanks very much for doing that. So we're going to start off with the temperature forecast from the GFS model for the next week. It'll be very warm, a hot day again today. Temperatures here being signalled to be around 26, 27, 28 degrees. I think we can increase that a bit more to around 30, maybe 31. So again, into the mid to upper 80s Fahrenheit, possibly knocking on the door of the 90 Fahrenheit mark. A little bit cooler as we go into Friday, maybe a degree or so less, but still very warm with temperatures into the mid to upper 20s, maybe again knocking on the door of 30 Celsius mark. For Saturday again, we perhaps knock another degree or so off, so we're looking then temperatures into the mid to upper 20s. Always cooler on the East Coast actually. If you don't like the heat, the East Coast is the place to go, because we're going to have a nice onshore breeze off the North Sea, keeping the East Coast cooler, although there could be some mist and low cloud actually down the East Coast. But yeah, we're going to get a very slight reduction in the temperatures over the next day or two. Still very warm though, even by Saturday. And then that slight reduction is gone as we go into Sunday, and the temperatures begin to tick back up again. So Sunday will turn hotter, with temperatures here being signalled to be back up to around the 30 Celsius mark. And that's how we go into next week, with heat really starting to build again through Monday and into Tuesday. We're seeing those temperatures back up to 30, 31, 32 degrees. That's getting back to the 90 Fahrenheit mark once again through the start of next week. So the heat may slide off us very slightly over the next couple of days, and then it's going to start to build as we go through Sunday and into Monday, and that stays with us into the middle of next week. And look how hot it's getting down across France. You're going to hear about this, I think, through next week on the news and in your newspapers, because this is signalling temperatures across southern parts of France through the middle of next week to be up to 40 or 41 Celsius. That is around 105, 106 Fahrenheit, something like that. Really, really hot, dangerously hot. I think France is going to suffer actually with this through the middle of next week. They do get it occasionally. They do get the temperatures going up into the hundreds Fahrenheit, particularly across southern France. But yeah, I think you'll be hearing about it quite a bit through the course of next week. The heat wave that is about to engulf much of France. For us, it's not signalling that sort of intense heat, thankfully. But even so, still very hot. Temperatures into the low 30s. Quite widely through the course of Wednesday and on into Thursday as well. So we've got at least another week of this heat to come, and obviously the temperature anomalies for the next week are going to be above average. This is for the temperature anomaly for Thursday the 18th to Thursday the 25th of July. We're in these red colours, so temperatures are going to be well above average, at least 4 degrees above average, one or two places going up perhaps to 6 degrees above average. That's really, really hot temperatures for July. The temperature ensembles from the GFS model, again, very good support that we're going to be above average for the next week at least. The red line is where we should be. All members of the ensemble are above that red line now, and going to stay above the red line for the next week at least. It's from around the 25th, 26th, 27th of July that we start to see a reduction in those temperature ensembles, so that by the time we get through to around the 28th or the 29th of July, right at the end of the month, we're actually being signalled here to go a little bit below average, would you believe? So yeah, we've got good agreement there, but around the 27th, 26th, 27th of July, we're going to see those temperatures starting to slide down, and we also bring quite a lot of rainfall back with that as well, with that reduction in the temperature. The rainfall spikes really shooting up there. This is for Manchester, one of the wetter places in the British Isles. You know that if you live in Manchester, but it can be a very wet place, I'm sure. But nevertheless, there's a lot of rainfall spikes being signalled there once we get through to the last week to 5 days of July. So certainly on the evidence of that, there's pretty good agreement that we're turning it cooler from around 26th, 27th of July, breaking down the heat wave. So if we have a quick look at the GFS generic charts, and we can see what's going to happen, what's going to break this high pressure down. This is the chart for Wednesday the 24th of July. We're seeing the high pressure still dominating there across much of the country, particularly centred up towards Scandinavia, but very hot east to south-easterly winds still being drawn in. Keep an eye on this heat low, though, down across Spain. That's going to start to push northwards as we go through the course of next week. So as we go through to Thursday, the heat lows begin to push up in towards France, and as we go on in towards Friday, then we're starting to generate the low pressure across southern parts of England. That will be bringing thunderstorms pushing northwards out of France. Big storms will be pushing north with that. As we go through to the 27th, Saturday the 27th, we've developed that low pressure, that Thundery low, into quite a big area of low pressure sitting right over the top of the British Isles. We bring down much cooler air now from the north and the northwest around that low pressure as it sits just off the east coast. And as we move through to Sunday the 28th, that low pressure then is off the coast, the eastern coast of Scotland. Again, much cooler air being fed in off the Atlantic with that area of low pressure. So that is the way that the GFS model wants to break things down. It wants to push up a heat low out of Spain, moving across the Bay of Biscay into France, and then eventually by Friday get it up across the British Isles. Now, what do the other models say about this breakdown? Well, if you have a look at the ECMWF, that again is showing the high pressure very dominant as we go into the middle of next week, centred more or less to the north of the country. There's the heat low down across Spain and southern France. As we move through into Thursday, that low is trying to push northwards, and by the time we get through to Friday, yes, it's starting to come up into southern and southwestern parts, being maybe very slightly delayed compared to the GFS. It may be about 12 hours later, pushing that at low pressure up, but eventually by Friday and on into Saturday, that low pressure is really with us across the country again, bringing a lot of heavy rain, possibly thunderstorms, or certainly I think there will be some thunderstorms mixed in with that, given the energy that will be available. And as we go into Sunday the 28th, the end of the ECMWF run, we're keeping that low pressure centred over the top of the British Isles, keeping it pretty wet and thundery through into that weekend. Finally, have a look at the GEM, and again, same idea for the middle of next week, the high pressure centred around the country. The GEM, though, just gives a bit of a question mark about this breakdown, because it extends this high pressure on into Friday the 26th. Now, Friday the 26th is when the ECMWF and the GFS want to move that heat low up into the country. The GEM, the Canadian, still has that high pressure centred over the country on Friday the 26th, and the low is still down over Spain, actually. So that just gives you a bit of a question mark. GM is always a bit different at the extended range, but because we're talking about weather a week to 10 days away, you do have to question just how reliable all of these charts are. Now, eventually, as we get through to Saturday the 27th and Sunday the 28th, the GEM does bring that low pressure up into the country, particularly centred to the west, actually. But it's certainly later in doing it. It is a couple of days later, which means we would extend the heat wave through the whole of next week, and we wouldn't break things down until the weekend of the 27th, 28th of July. So you just have to question how quickly this breakdown is going to occur, whether it's going to occur, because it's still some time out. But we have got agreement between the GFS and the ECM, which is for it to turn very hot through the start of next week again. Heat continues into the middle of next week, and then Thursday, Friday, that's when the breakdown comes along. Thunderstorms moving up from the south and eventually turning much cooler and fresher. So I think that's what we're going to go with this morning, but just with the caveat that it's a week to 10 days away, so there still is some uncertainty about it, and that is in evidence by the GEM. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.